Okay. So, it's time for Us Kind episode 1, and Andrew has already shown up late.
There's a story behind that. Thank you very much. Should I get into that now?
Yeah, go get into it. They deserve to know. Why are we late, Andrew?
Episode 1. Well, thanks to my precious group, our project's due Tuesday, and we're just now starting on it, which is about 4 days before the deadline. And
that's actually pretty good. I mean...
Well, yes, but last time we were a week ahead, and it worked out very well. But this time, nobody decided to show up after I've sent 3 messages to all of them. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll meet up, but no one would ever give a definite time. So we finally meet today. I was there on time, and everybody's like, oh, sorry, I'm going to be late. And they all show up an hour and a half later. So we start working on the project. I'm doing a lot of the work, and they're both sitting there just talking about the NCAA tournament and their bracket. So I didn't really care about that, so I was fine to work on the project. And we finally hit a roadblock where I didn't know what to do. So they come over, try to help. They kind of help. And then we just kind of sat there stuck for 20 minutes and we left.
Okay, you see the main problem here, right? Because last time when you started a week ahead and everything went smoothly, there was not enough stress to to maintain this level of timeliness. So now they're like, well, if we did it a week ahead and it was completely fine, I bet we could do it, in 4 days, and it would also be fine. See, you need that little bit. You need that little bit that was oh, it barely worked out. That way, next time they'll also, it'll work out.
And it's also a problem because both my group members kind of hate each other. Because whenever I'm sitting with one of them in class, they always say, I can't believe the other person's not doing any work. This is unbelievable. I'm like, neither of you are doing any work, so please shut up.
Okay, so for this podcast in general, I was doing some thinking whenever we decided to do this, and I realized that we met in 2008, and so that's 9 years ago, right?
Sounds right.
And I, most of these podcasts aren't people that have known each other for around a decade, and I got to thinking about the kind of things that slip through the cracks after knowing somebody for a decade. And believe it or not, at least in my line of thinking, I think we're going to learn a lot about each other.
That's very true. I don't remember people's birthdays very well. That's probably something I can look on Facebook, but I'm too lazy to even do that, so...
November 13th. Bam. Learned a new thing. Episode 1.
Make a note of that. Just kidding.
Put that in the show notes.
Do you know when my birthday is? Important question.
May 31st.
There you go. But that's not fair because our friend Tori has the same birthday, so you have twice.
Well, yeah, I can consolidate. Market forces determined that I will remember May 31st. Oh. So you're back from your recent trip to New York.
I am. Yeah, we took a spring break trip up to New York for a few days. First time I ever flew. It was only for 2 hours, so it wasn't that bad.
How have you not flown? You're on the cusp of 22.
Never had anywhere to go. Everything I need is right here.
So what'd you do in New York?
We did all the touristy things. We saw Empire State Building, Lady Liberty, Ellis Island, took a little boat ride up there.
Is she just as beautiful up close?
I mean, it's cool to see because you always see pictures and stuff, but actually seeing is she's not as tall as I was anticipating, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty well-known fact that the camera adds 10 tons to any statue.
Yeah.
It scales up the larger the body.
We saw some birds on the island, I remember saying. Those are the freest birds in the world. Yeah, we did that. Went through Central Park. That was probably my favorite. I mean, it's just like any other park. It's just with skyscrapers in the background.
Wait, isn't there a dog statue there? That's
Oh yeah, there's Balto.
I actually watched that movie recently.
I did
It
too.
holds up. It stood the test of time.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really. It's not based on a true. Well, it kind of is, but it's just that a dog named Balto.
That is exactly what based on a true story would be, Andrew.
That's very true. But like the part where he's half wolf, I'm pretty sure that was all fabricated, and that was like one of the main conflicts in that movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you can get 80% wolf now, right? Like, hold on, let's do some Googling.
But while you're doing that,
Okay.
saw some street performers. That was kind of cool. But yeah, something unique about New York was that almost every corner had like a hot dog stand. So like you got to smell that and it smelled great, and then you'd walk a few steps and you smell the sewer. So it really messes with
Okay,
you.
yeah. So, like, every movie that's ever been filmed in New York, I don't think it adequately captures that it smells like sewer there. Now, the
Yeah.
hot dog thing I could deal with. I could eat hot dogs every day of the year.
Yeah, I ate one at least once a day during our trip.
Okay, yeah, so I just looked up the bylaws on keeping wolf hybrids in Tennessee, and it turns out that I can't make any sense of this. But I'm pretty sure I knew a guy who may or may not have had an 80% wolf hybrid, and it was pretty cool, and it was still pretty tame as a dog, so I don't know what Balto was going for with the whole, like, 50-50 wolf hybrid thing, but...
What do you mean the dog was pretty tame?
Well, I mean, he got it as a puppy, right?
Right.
So, like... I mean, it's huge, don't get me wrong, like, the thing is gigantic, but it's pretty much a dog.
Yeah. I remember I tried to watch the sequel to Balto, because they made like 2 or 3 sequels, and it was pretty trash.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, they weren't even about Balto anymore, and the first Balto had a pretty conclusive ending.
Yeah.
And they were like, and that's why the statue's here, and it was this whole big, neat, little wrapped package.
Yeah.
Perfect for exploiting for a sequel. So, moving into kind of the focus of this show, I kind of want to talk about what we want this podcast to be, really. We've done a lot of conversation so far, which I think is, pretty indicative of what we'll probably sound like. But, I mean, what are you looking to get out of this?
I'm not real sure. I was told we were doing a podcast, and I showed up. So, yeah, I think we'll learn about each other, maybe have a few fans out there. What are we going to call our fans? Our subscribers, if you will.
I tell you what, if anybody out there is listening, send an email to Royal Weasels, that's royal like the queen and weasel like the, ferret-like animal, at gmail.com. And, yeah, we'll take submissions, and we'll even read them on the air and decide on what you want to be. This is up to you. This is your show.
Can I send an email to royalweasels@gmail.com?
Well, yeah, but I'm pretty sure you're kind of in charge of responding to those. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you should, for the listeners, if you do email us, preface it, just address it to Andrew, because I'm probably not going to read them.
Fair enough.
I'm neglecting responsibilities here.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So I have some topics that I want to talk about as the show goes on. And we don't have to do these in any particular order, but I definitely want to talk about cars. Cars is a big interest for me, even as a kid, back when other people were playing a whole lot of video games and stuff like that.
I was one of
Cars
those
something that
kids.
was big.
I did not care about cars at all.
Okay, cool. Then we'll talk about video games too. That'll make it in there.
Yay.
And yeah, movies. We're I wouldn't say we're avid moviegoers, but we're avid movie talkers. Kind of have a shared cynicism about movies.
It's just the way I see it. When they have that much of a budget, it better be great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but how many people on average work on a movie? Because I mean, it's like podcasts. That's 2 people. We've figured that out, right? but um,
You need at least 7 for a movie.
at least 7. I'm quoting you on that.
Okay.
This is going well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we anticipated.
Oh. So, yeah. What are things that you want to talk about? I mean, is there stuff like work stuff, school stuff? We're both kind of, yeah. Like, first of all, I think we should probably mention that the 2 of us are both like on the cusp of undergraduate graduation.
That is true.
We're about to be real adults. So there goes any credibility on any topic that we were going to talk about. Yeah. We should rename the show Uneducated Opinions.
So pretty much any news outlet.
Sure, yeah. We are fake news.
Yeah, I guess it will just be us talking about anything and everything.
Topic suggestions. Email royalweasels@gmail.com.
Please, we're running out of ideas, and it's episode 1.
Yeah, really. Okay.
But no.
So what's new in your life? How are you? Yeah, wait. we've talked for several minutes here. Andrew, how are you?
Besides my group kind of dampening my day, I'm saying I'm doing pretty well overall.
Any new stuff in Andrew's world?
New games coming out. I'm looking very forward to Mass Effect Andromeda.
Okay, so for all the people that are actually listening to this podcast, because I assume that anyone that does know about Mass Effect Andromeda is probably just doing that right now.
That is true.
Explain what Mass Effect Andromeda is.
So pretty much it is based in the Mass Effect universe, which is like pretty big gaming franchise, and takes place.
Do you play this on your Nintendo or?
Sorry. We've actually played on the Xbox, for all you kids out there not knowing what an Xbox is.
Mom, if you're listening, don't pay attention. You can still call it a Nintendo.
But yeah, it's, well, I'm gonna play it on the Xbox. It comes out on multiple gaming consoles and PC, for all you... I know, should we go into that story?
No, we will save that one. Okay, right. Yeah, stay tuned for the next episode when we talk about embarrassing stories from Justin's past involving PCs and video games.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that already. Anyway, so yeah, it's just a game that takes place in the Andromeda galaxy, which is, in real life, the galaxy closest to the Milky Way, the one we live in.
And aren't we going to collide into that at some point in the distant future? Aren't we due?
Not in this lifetime. But yeah, it's AAA game, which means it's like it's a big deal in the industry. Let's put it that way. But yeah, it's I don't know what else to say about it.
Oh no, like what's your first impression?
So the game comes out this coming Tuesday, and I think on this past Wednesday they released a trial of it. Or if you buy the EA Access, where you pay pretty much to get some games. I don't know, it's a weird system. Anyway, you get to play 10 hours of the game right now, instead of waiting until the release date. So, that is what I've been doing recently, is wasting my 10 hours trying to customize my character. Yeah. Single player seems pretty fun. You start out on your spaceship, like you just wake up from cryo sleep for like 600 years. And the ship like runs into a space cloud thing and kind of damages your ship, so you have to go to a nearby planet to like see if everybody can go there just in case if things start falling apart.
So you're telling me that in the Andromeda Galaxy, they also haven't figured out like the lesson from the whole Titanic story?
Pretty much, yeah.
So so the premise of the game is you wake up on a spaceship, having slept for 600 years, and you struck an iceberg.
More or less, like they were planning on waking up. It's just it happens that your character you play as wakes up, and then as soon as you get on your feet, like your big rattle of the ship, and power starts going off.
Wait, so did you hit the celestial iceberg because everyone was asleep, or?
I think it was just for the plot. Yeah, I just got to the point where I get on the planet and we meet our first like alien species. I guess we're the aliens, and they're the home species. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone stuff there.
Yeah, we land and like it's sort of like a abrupt landing where like people were flying out of the spaceship, a smaller spaceship, not like the main one, and so you're trying to find like all the survivors of the crash, and all the aliens are kind of executing them. So they're not too happy about that.
Is that so? The aliens are executing whom?
Humans that landed on their planet. Which I can't blame them per se, but I don't know. I'm not that far into the story. Like I said, I spent a lot of time with the customization and all that. And he's got 10 hours, he's going to make sure he looks his best.
Oh no, that's great. That's great.
But yeah, there's also a multiplayer mode that you get to play early on.
See, that's one thing. It's like, with my limited experience with video games, I could never get into the multiplayer stuff. I always just felt like I was 4 steps behind, and everybody was better than me, and they just killed me, and like, getting killed over and over isn't particularly interesting.
I understand that, but Mass Effect's multiplayer isn't competitive where you're like killing other players. It's actually cooperative where you're like killing the aliens. It's like computer controlled, so you're working together with other people.
That sounds like my badness at video games would actually be more frustrating in that scenario than if it were the other.
Yeah, I could see that, where you're just sort of like a hindrance to your team.
Oh, well, no, they'd be a hindrance to me. No.
Oh, okay. Whatever you think. Whatever you want to tell yourself. So what about you? What have you been up to these days?
Okay, just finished a huge project that I didn't have to do with other people. That was pretty awesome. Big 18-page paper on nanofluids. That's complete. Yeah. I studied chemistry. I just realized I dropped nanofluids in there, and that probably deserves a little bit of explanation. Probably not gonna actually do a career in chemistry. I mean, it was fun while I was here, but yeah, I like science. Glad I spent this much time on it, but moving forward, I'm probably gonna do some more boring stuff. I like podcasting. I think I might try that for a while, but what?
We should do a podcast.
We should do a podcast, Andrew.
Yeah. I am studying accounting and finance, so not exactly the most interesting stuff.
You know what I love about this podcast so far, Andrew?
What?
Is how backwards we've gotten everything. Okay, listeners, okay, start listening now, and then go back and do the beginning.
Maybe you'll just listen to it like while it's rewinding, and maybe it'll sound like it makes sense. Our words will be backwards, but it'd be okay.
We probably make more sense with the words backwards.
Yeah.
Do you realize we spent more time... Not only did we talk about Mass Effect Andromeda before, we spent more time talking about it than introducing ourselves.
Well, see, they're going to learn more about us as time goes on. So,
yeah, you get to know us as we get to know more about each other.
That's magical.
This is going to be a magical story. I hope you'll join us in this journey. All right, so I think next week we'll probably come back with another, probably a lot longer episode. I really want to talk about cars. Do you want to talk about cars next week?
Sounds good to me. But yeah, I nerded out about Mass Effect, so you get to do your thing with cars. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think we should come back to video games, too. Like, I don't think we should stop at Mass Effect Andromeda, because I think both of us have more to say about what we know and don't know about video games.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll talk about cars next week. I just want the listeners to know that Andrew and I, we are all in on this for you, okay? We want to do this thing every week. And so for suggestions or just general feedback, you want to ask a question, I mean, there's got to be so few of you that we'll probably be able to talk about all of it actually in the recording. So you can email us again at royalweasels, plural, @gmail.com. You can visit our website over at royalweasels.com, and that has this episode, as well as hopefully some other episodes of some other shows that we're getting together. You can, if you want to do us a huge favor, you can review us on iTunes. And I think Andrew's also going to put this bad boy on YouTube. So be sure to, YouTube, the best podcast hosting site on the internet. So check us out there. Give us a little bump. And thanks for listening.
Have a great night, everyone. Do I need to stop recording? No.